In a quiet town on the edge of nowhere lived a woman named Mrs. Sharma, known for her outward piety and discipline. After her husband died, she lived in a large house with her two children, Priya and Kunal. People in the neighborhood whispered of her rigid ways, but no one truly knew what happened behind her polished doors. One rainy evening, Mrs. Sharma returned home with a tiny, frail girl wrapped in a thin shawl. Her name was Meera, no older than 5, found abandoned near a temple. Mrs. Sharma announced proudly to the neighbors that she had adopted her out of charity, saying she would give the child a better life. But that better life turned out to be something else entirely. From the first morning, Meera was treated not as a daughter, but as a servant. At 6 years old, she was given a broom taller than herself and made to clean the marble floors. She washed dishes that cut her tiny hands and cooked meals she wasn't allowed to eat until the family had finished. Her bed was a mat near the kitchen, and her clothes were cast-offs that no longer fit Priya. Mrs. Sharma's children grew up treating Meera like she was invisible unless they needed something. Priya would order her to polish her school shoes and iron her uniforms, and if she made a mistake, she was slapped. Kunal would spill milk on purpose, just to make Meera mop it again, laughing as she scrambled to clean it with shaking hands. Mrs. Sharma herself showed no softness. "You were nothing," she would hiss. "I saved you. You owe me your life." Meera didn't speak much. She kept her pain locked inside, but sometimes she would cry softly in the corner of the storeroom. Her only solace was an old, tattered book someone had thrown away. It had stories of girls who found freedom, of children who grew into heroes. She held on to those stories like lifelines. Years passed. Meera grew into a quiet teenager with sharp eyes and strong hands. She still served the family, still bore the bruises, but she never let her heart harden. In the shadows, she taught herself to read, to write, to think. She watched the world with a mind far sharper than the ones who hurt her. One day, a school inspector visited the neighborhood. He saw Meera fetching groceries for Priya, who stood by the gate yelling at her. Something in her posture caught his attention, her silence, her poise, the scars on her arms. He returned the next day, and the next. Eventually, he called in Child Protection Services. When they took Meera away, she didn't cry. She didn't even look back. She simply walked out of the gates of the house that never gave her love. Years later, she returned not as a servant, but as a lawyer. She had changed her name, but not her heart. And that day, she stood outside the same house, preparing to help rescue another child, reported to be living in similar cruelty. The rose that grew in silence had finally found her voice